Hi everyone, welcome to my granny bucket hat tutorial. You will need a 3.5mm hook. You will also need 4 different types of yarn. I use Charity as my brand of choice. To begin the hat, you will start by placing yarn on your palm and then looping it over to create a cross by the palm area. You will then proceed to take your hook and then hook that loose yarn, twist it, and then pull it into that circle. You will then tighten it and then chain 3. Once you have chained 3, you will put 10 double crochets into that magic ring. Once you have put 10 double crochets into that magic ring, you will then take that loose yarn, tighten the circle, and then place a slip stitch on the other side to pull the circle together. Once you have made that slip stitch, you will then tie off and then begin another row. To begin the second row, you will take a different color, you'll make a slip knot, and once you have made the slip knot, you will place that slip knot into that first row, which is the magic circle. Once you've placed that slip knot inside, you will then chain 3. After you have chained 3, you will place 2 double crochets into each stitch until you reach the end of the row. For the beginning of this hat, there will be a total of 5 rows of increases. Once you reach the end of that row, you will then connect the 2 sides and make a slip stitch. After you've connected the sides with the slip stitch, you will then cut off that yarn and begin the third row. To begin the third row, you will take a different color. You will then make a slip knot. Once you have made that slip knot, you will place that slip knot into the first stitch of that row. Once you have placed that slip knot into the stitch, you will chain 3. For this row, we will place 3 double crochets in each space. So once you have made that chain 3, you will place 2 double crochets into that same stitch. That chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. So only 2 double crochets in that first stitch. Once you have done that, then you will place 3 double crochets into the space that follows. So not in each stitch, into the next space. And you will continue with that pattern until you reach the end of the row. Once you have reached the end of the row, you will then make a slip stitch. Please note that you do not crochet right until the end. You leave a little bit of space before you actually make the slip stitch. You will then cut off that yarn. Next, we will start with the 4th row. For the 4th row, you will make a slip knot with a different color and take your crochet stick and place that slip knot into that first stitch. This is how the hat looks so far. Once you have placed that slip knot into that first stitch, you will then chain 3. Once you have chained 3, you will place 1 double crochet into that same stitch. The pattern for this row is that you will place 2 double crochets into the middle of that 3 at the bottom, the 3rd row, into that middle stitch. And once you've placed 2 double crochets in the middle stitch of the row below, then you will place 2 double crochets in the next space. So the pattern goes that you will place 2 double crochets in the middle stitch of the row below, and then you will place 2 double crochets in the space that follows. And you will continue with that pattern until you reach the end of the row. Once you have reached the end of the row, you will make a slip stitch and connect the two sides. Remember to leave a bit of a space in between. Once you have made that slip stitch, you will then cut that piece of yarn off with a scissor. To begin the last row of increases, which is the 5th row, you will make a slip knot. Once you have made that slip knot with a different color, you will take your crochet stick and place that slip knot into that first stitch. The pattern for the 5th row is that you will make 3 double crochets into each space. So you'll chain 3 and place 2 double crochets into that first stitch because that chain 3 counts as a double crochet. And then you will proceed to place 3 double crochets in each space. So you'll continue and make 3 double crochets in each space. Make sure that you're not crocheting into the stitches. Into the spaces in between is where you're crocheting the 3 double crochets. Once you have reached the end of the row, you will then make a slip stitch and then cut off that piece of yarn. This is how the hat looks like so far with the increases up to row 5. Next, you'll begin with rows 6 to 15. Rows 6 to 15, you will make a slip knot and then place that slip knot in the stitch and chain 3. Once you have chained 3, you will place 2 double crochets in that first stitch. That chain 3 counts as a double crochet, so there's 3 there. Then you will place 3 double crochets in each space until you reach the end of the row. You will do this for rows 6 to 15, and I will meet you once the hat is completed up to row 15. Once you have done your rows from 6 to 15, this is what the hat looks like. Next, we will do the ruffle effect. For the ruffle effect, you will take a different color and you will make a slip knot. Once you've made the slip knot, you will take your crochet stick and place that slip knot into that first stitch and chain 3. Once you have chained 3, you'll place 2 double crochets into that first stitch. That chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet, so there will be 3. For this row, you will place 3 double crochets into the middle of the 3 stitches from the previous row. So the row below, you'll place that 3 double crochets into that middle row, and then you'll proceed to place 3 double crochets in the next space. So the pattern for this row is that you'll place 3 double crochets in the middle stitch of the row below, and then you'll place 3 double crochets in the next space. Once you are done with that row, for the last row you will chain 3 and then place 2 double crochets in that first stitch. That chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. Then you will place 3 double crochets in each space until you reach the end. And that is the end of the tutorial, and this is how your hat should look at the end. Thank you for watching. Bye.